Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Haft here. I'm up at Door County in a place called Sister Bay. And we have a fish boil going on here. As you can see, the fire is intense and the smoke is overwhelming. I guess he's got potatoes and onions in there right now. And he's going to be putting the fish in shortly, and then we'll have the overboil. So there's an overview of the harbor and stuff here, and they have a marina.
All right, folks, now for the start of the show, we're going to look for caught whitefish.
He's got the corn. He's going to put that in, and then he's got the local whitefish.
I'll show it to you.
That looks nice. It's nice and fresh.
This is caught right out in these waters. Right here? Yeah, right out here.
These are some of the participants here. These people travel from all over the world for this.
That's definitely going to go viral. This is caught right here. This is our local caught whitefish. All right, now for the corn. And a pinch of salt.
Oh my goodness.
Not tonight. Well, it's a lot of water though, so it's a little misty.
Yeah.
As he sets the fish in there. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't need gloves.
All right, so is this anybody's first fish boil?
Yes.
So this is traditional start York County in the late 1800s. It was one of the ways they devised to feed a lot of hungry men back then. We had the lumberjacks up here. They're cutting all the virgin timber, and this is one of the ways they used to feed a lot of men in a short period of time. Back then, they used to call them trout boils because they used another local fish that we have. It's called lake trout. We use a local called whitefish. It has one name called whitefish. A lot of people think it's two names like cod. They call whitefish. And now they call whitefish, but this one name is called whitefish. And we get our fish from a fishery that's been many generations. It's a fishery, the Weedwork family. That Weedwork Point right out here. Before this was turned into a state park, that was their homestead, Weedworks Point. They've been fishing for many generations. We get our fish from them. And they also supply a lot of the other restaurants. If you go to Alexander's, you get a fillet of whitefish boiled, which comes from their fishery. And so they have 4 sets of nets on this side of the peninsula. They have a set in Egg Harbor. They have a set up in Chambers Island, Sister Bay, and then Chambers Island's like 3.5 miles away, and then one in Elsa Bay, Sister Bay. And then they also have a couple on the other side of the peninsula. So they're gill nets, and they just pull them out. They rotate through, depending upon how much fish you get in the nets. And so this tradition started out as a way to feed hungry lumberjacks, but then as they got done clear-cutting virgin timber, this tradition was carried on through local civic associations and churches. They would use it as a fundraiser to do once or twice a year, and then people wondered why they had to wait once or twice a year for a fish bowl. So then the Vikings Grill in Sister Bay was one of the first ones that started doing this on a regular basis open to the public in the very early 60s. And if you look on YouTube, you'll see some videos of what I think it must have been like the mid-60s, judging by the cars that were showing up. And they would do, they would have like 3-4 kettles set up, and they just go from one kettle to the next, and they serve like 700 people a day. Cars wind up down the road, people wind up. And so then it started off with the Viking Grill. In fact, Viking Grill sold 3 years ago, right before we were getting ready to open. I went to the new owners and asked what they're doing with the equipment. They said, we're not doing fish bowls. So we did a little trade, and this is actually equipment from the Viking Grill that we're on here in fish bowls. And if anybody's wondering what the actual kettle is that's holding the water that we're going to fish in, that is out of a 1954 or 55 speed clean washing machine. These things last forever. So it's stainless steel. Doesn't look like it this point at night, but it's all stainless steel. So you know, back then you couldn't go on eBay and order a fish bowl kettle, so you had to figure out something that would work. And back when I started doing fish bowls as a kid, everybody had this exact same kettle because that was available. So then after the Viking opened up, then the White Gull down the street, the Pelletiers, Square Rigger on the other side, the Sandpiper, they're no longer in existence, but there are several restaurants up here. My mom and dad used to own the Edgewater Resort in Heathrow. It was called the Edgewater Dining Room. And when I was the second to the youngest out of 8, we started out doing the dishes in the kitchen, and then when I was old enough, strong enough to lift the baskets out of the kettle, then I became the boil master. But they still let me do the dishes. Just got to wear another hat. So then my wife and I, when we decided, we've been running retail here since 1999, and we decided to turn it into a restaurant because there's no restaurant fish creek with the water view. We have like this awesome view, the decks and everything, and people can come and hang out, enjoy the boiling procedure. We decided to do the fish boil because I understood the concept. I like the history and uniqueness of our county of the fish boil, but I love purpose, spice, and flavor. So my plan was I was going to do the traditional, which is the only seasoning with salt. And I was going to do my own version with a little bit more seasoning. And that's where we got into the low country boils, because as I started the way the Cajuns cook and the spice and everything, I started doing low country boils at the house. And when I got the seasoning down, when you sit down at your table, that red shaker is the seasoning that I mix up. And I started bringing it on the table on Cajun night, and then people were wondering when they come back on fish bowls, like, hey, where's the seasoning? So now these bowl nights. But if anybody's interested in joining us for that, that's a completely different experience. We do it on a burner, we do light a fire, we do a ceremonial boil over at the end, just because everybody loves the big flame. We drop the shrimp in, we do the ceremonial boil over. But that is the main protein, is jumbo shrimp. Comes with potatoes, onions, corn on the cob, andouille sausage, celery, mushrooms, garlic, sweet potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. And then we take all those ingredients after we've done boiling it, put it in this oversized bowl, take some of the broth that's created during the boiling process, and it's packed full of flavor, pour that over. The flavor really soaks in, especially like the andouille sausage, the sweet potatoes, and the Brussels sprouts, and the mushrooms. And then you can also add a 6-ounce lobster tail that we cook right in the pot with the rest of the ingredients. Normally lobster tails just doesn't have lobster. So when the butter ice comes out, we don't use the butter. And we do the same format, 5:30, 7:30, people check in early, hang out here. So we're getting ready to do what's called the boil over, and most people think that is just for a photo op, but it actually serves a purpose in the cooking process, because as I drop the fish in there, we have the oils from the fish come to the surface, and then you get a little, when the wood's burning, you get a little ash that settles on top of the water, and when I do the boil over, I drop a little fuel at the base of the fire, increase the water temperature, cause the water to boil over, cleans out that top layer before we place it in the water. Does anybody have any questions? Any answers? Usually you need like young kids for answers. All right, so we're getting ready for the boil over shortly here. And when I do it, we're not quite there yet, but when I do it, you guys might want to move back because it does project a lot of heat in a short period of time. And if you want to take a photo, you don't want to run the other way. And if you're taking a photo about 3-4 seconds after I drop the fuel at the base of the fire, that's where the fire is getting What's that? You're good. You're good. And it looks like the wind's coming out of the east too, so it's going to kind of go that way, but it kind of swirls in here a little bit. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you that.
Now he's got the gloves out. Oh yeah. And he didn't even pour the, I think he said kerosene, is it what he?
All right, here we go. Fire in the hole.
Yes, folks, that's the boil over.
That's the boil over.
And here's his helper. It does smell like kerosene, don't it?
Now walking around and give you a sneak peek at after the boil, you'll know exactly what it comes with. right into the whole bone part. So it comes with it has skin on it. And the bones hold it together as a bone. So when it comes to your table, I'll just walk around. You guys can get a good photo of it. When it comes to your table, the easiest thing is if you got a little black boil at your table, take the skin off first because it just peels right off after it's been boiled. Peel the skin off, put it in that black bowl. And when it comes to a tail, which we have a lot of tails, I think everybody's going to get a tail today. Normally it doesn't happen. Somebody else must have got shortchanged because I got extra tails in there. So when it comes to the tail, after you get the skin off, you got just the spine bone in the middle. So you just take your knife along top of the spine bone, flip the meat off, grab the spine, in the black bowl, you're done. When it comes to the chunk, you take the skin off, and you got like 4 sections. Here is the spine coming up from the chunk.
Thank you.
Straight down, and it's got a seam here, and a seam here, and a seam here. So you hold on to the spine, take your knife, put it in there, and pull it, push like perpendicular. So there's little pin bones in there, and that way you're pulling it perpendicular to pin bones. Most of the pin bones will stay behind, but the ones that don't, they kind of dislodge or they expose themselves. You just grab those and drop those right into the black hole. And then when it comes to going down the rib cage, take your knife, go right down the rib cage, and just slide the meat off. And then just, I like to debone and then go into eating. That way I just get the bones and skin right off my plate and I can move on. So I'm going to quiz you at the end. When we're all done serving.
What did you say? Debone it first before you...
Yeah, skin off first and then debone. If you got a 4-top or any top, you only have to remember half of the person that is like that.
But I kind of wanted to taste this since I got the other one. I haven't tasted this. I'm not a big fan of person that these are the same size. The order I can see. That wasn't very long.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty cool. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Looks good.
So it does take us a few minutes. We get in there to stage everything and get the ball rolling, but we are working as fast as diligent as we can. Everybody will get served. Be patient. All right, folks, it is time to eat.
There it is, folks. Time to eat.